welcome to Blyleven's Baseball Adventures. My name is Todd Blyleven, and I'm going to be your host through a gamut of adventures in the game of baseball. It's my job right now and my goal and purpose, I believe, after everything I've ever been through in my life, to really teach and try to educate you listeners, parents, coaches, teachers, former players, young players, athletes, whether you're playing Little League or travel ball, Dixie, whatever it might be, whatever country you're in, I really want to try to educate you on the game of baseball and how it's supposed to be played. There's a lot of guys out there, there's a lot of women out there, there's a lot of people and teachers that teach great things. I'm not going to say that my way is the best way, but I'm going to give you a little bit of my life history on what I've learned and what I've accomplished in my life so far, and as a dad and as a former player. So let's begin. Where do I start? Let's see, I was born, so that's a good thing, in 1972, and I was born in Minnesota. Now, the difference between me and, say, most of the world was when I was born, my dad was playing Major League Baseball. I had the opportunity to really grow up in a Major League clubhouse. When I was 7 years old, my dad won the World Series with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1979. During that year, I remember being the bat boy that entire year. I traveled around with my dad and I traveled around with the team. But I remember working with hitters such as Willie Stargell would give me hitting lessons down in the field, and the Omar Marinos, and I used to swing on the arm of big giant, Cobra Dave Parker. And I can't tell you that I ever took for granted being around those players and learning from such greats like Pete Rose and Ricky Henderson and Kirby Puckett and everyone else that you could possibly imagine from the time of 1970 to about 92, 93, somewhere in there when my dad retired in 1993. I absolutely had a blast. I got a chance to also be around my dad every day, and my dad was one of those guys that always worked out. He took his conditioning very seriously, and he took the game of baseball very seriously, but yet he also understood it was a game. And so we're going to talk a lot about those segments and my dad being inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011, and I'm going to share a lot of those stories with dealing with a lot of those players and coaches and parents and everything else. As a player myself, I grew up in Southern California, and I was drafted 3 times. I ended up signing and playing professional baseball for 7 years, and then became a Major League scout. And I was a scout with the Angels and the Rockies, and I was the guy that went and signed players, and I did some advanced Major League coverage, and I just had an absolute blast. I'm a parent of 3. I've got a beautiful wife, and I've got 3 great kids, and my son plays baseball, and my other 2 daughters are into dancing. But we have just an absolute blast as a family, and I've worked with kids and athletes for over almost 20 years now. During the off seasons, I come home and work with athletes. I've worked with coaches, worked with parents on mentoring and on the recruiting aspect. So I've done almost everything in this game. And now I'm the business development manager for Skills, the pro performance company that you see all over in Dick's Sporting Goods and Sports Authority and just about everywhere. I think we're in 20,000 stores now global. And I write the content and instructional pieces for them. So I've really kind of taken everything that life has to throw at me, and I want to learn. And I don't know everything. So as we're learning together through all of these videos, we're going to have some fun. Okay, all I ask is have an open mind, be positive, and let's have some fun. Blyleven's Baseball Adventures.